always nice to start at the beginning. Let's start with who you play. Who's your character in this one?
He's called Harry. He works at a fair trade office. He's married to Karen, who is the sister of the Prime Minister. They have 2 kids, and they think they have a happy life.
And there is in a nutshell, is their story. What's the relationship like then, as we meet them at the beginning of the story?
It's a good relationship. It's just that I guess they've both got very busy lives, and that often leads to little chinks in the armour, if you like. And into one of those chinks steps a young woman called Mia, who works in Harry's office.
And how does this change the chemistry of the relationship between you and Karen, between your character and Karen?
Same way it would change your relationship with your wife, or anybody's wife, if a young woman in a red dress entered your life, your shared lives.
What kind of a man is Harry then? Is he? I mean, as we're talking about, he could be the archetypical male menopausal, about to have a fling, but there's a richer...
It's not about menopausal.
Well, perhaps not menopausal, not for a young man like you, sir, but you know, that sort of turning 40 type of buying a fast car or going out with a girl in a red dress.
No, I don't think he was expecting any of it. I think it hits him by surprise as much as anybody else. As I say, it's just like a moment in time. You turn your head one way and one thing happens, turn another way and something else happens, but like perhaps a lot of men, he was weak enough to give in.
So what's lured you into this project?
First of all, I was asked.
Always helps.
Second of all, it's good to work with people that you've worked with before, if you like and trust them. And Emma Thompson's playing my wife, and in a sense, that means, we almost don't have to rehearse the relationship. Not that we're married or anything, but we do know each other well, and we've worked together a few times now.
And also, I think people like Duncan Kenworthy behind the cameras as well, and that presumably gives you another layer of trust.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with, you must have presumably been familiar with Richard's writing work before this, but it must be slightly nerve-wracking for an actor to give their trust to a first-time director. How does that work out, and how do you feel about that?
Well, when I directed a movie, I was a first-time director, so I have no business judging anybody else. All directors are first-time directors at some point, and I think if you're brave enough to say you'll do the job, then you have a load of courage to begin with, and that's going to be a huge advantage.
What are the sort of qualities, what are the keynotes, you think, of Richard's work?
Well, like any good writer, he's got a very personal rhythm, and so for an actor, it's it's a definite bonus to pick up a script and find a particularity about the rhythm and the wit that you can just sort of dive into. It kind of tells you how to do it.
Richard's writings, of course, we know funny, but there are different levels of comedy within this story. Where does Harry's come? Is yours an out-and-out laugh fest? Obviously not, but where does the comedy come from in your relationships?
Well, the comedy will come from people recognising their own relationships in it, I guess, and perhaps particularly the relationship that Karen and Harry have with their children. They've got a difficult older son who gives them a few problems. But so it'll be laughter of recognition rather than particularly laughter of gags.
It's a strange project for all of you in that you all have these completely self-contained stories, and yet it's part of a bigger thing. How does that feel, sort of coming in and out?
Well, it's quite nice to hand over the responsibility to the editor, I think. I just saw him, actually. Good luck. Because it's going to be an interesting job putting the thing together.
But does it feel... It was interesting, I talked to... The first interview I did on this was Colin Firth, who'd literally just come back from France. As you know, they shot the first one. And in a sense, he was lucky. He did almost his entire story. So he felt like, who are all these people and why are they in my movie? But do you feel that same thing if it's your story and there are these other, well-known faces popping in, or does it feel like a coherent whole?
No, I think one's very, because I've read the whole script, I'm very aware of what the other stories are. I think the good thing is that each of the particular tales that you follow and the relationship that you follow have very different colours and textures, if you like. So you just got to land accurately on your own and stay with that.
As the title rather hints, the whole film is about love, and there are so many different types of love. What kinds of types of love do we see in the stories that you're involved in?
It's about long-lasting love, and it's about the laziness that can come from that, and the regretfulness, and the truth of that love, and the need of it, and the way it can, something as powerful as that can be casually damaged if you're not careful.
As you say, Emma is an old friend and an old working colleague now, and I've been watching you on set, and unfortunately every time I see her she's showing me her added fat bits on the thigh, so I haven't really been able to observe her performance as much as I would like to. But how's that working out between the two of you? How's that working relationship this time around?
Well, it's great because Emma's first of all a wonderful actor, and she's very smart, and she's also a writer too. So you can have a kind of even Stevens discussion about the script, the characters, the relationship, and it becomes a proper kind of marketplace of ideas between two actors.
And are you, with all these romantic themes in the story, are you a romantic person yourself? Is it a genre you respond to?
Who isn't? Really. At some time or another, everybody likes to either get or be given, or to give some flowers, or a song, or some beautiful words strung together brilliantly.
And of course, one of your earlier film roles, in Truly, Madly, Deeply, remains one of many people's sort of favourite choices. But so it's anything, you have a tender spot for that kind of intensely romantic story?
Well, I think romance is a result. It's not something that you're playing. You're hopefully playing the truth of a situation and a relationship. Truly, Madly, Deeply is an intensely romantic film, but I don't think we were aware of it. We're not thinking about that when we're doing it.
Well, we look forward to seeing this one. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
And cut.